Atlantic Ocean, second largest ocean in the world, it is incredibly deep, second only to Pacific, with the deepest part of the Atlantic waters, is the Milwaukee Deep located off the coast of Puerto Rico. Atlantic has a lot of secrets deep buried underwater, such as the RMS Titanic and the famous pirate ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, owned by the legendary pirate Edward Teach, famously known as Blackbeard. Many people have gone missing in these oceans, among which them is Stephen Callahan, who got missing for 76 days without any food. Here's how he survived those 76 days. It all started in 1986 in Newport, Rhode Island, United States. Callahan loved sailing in seas. At that day he departed Rhode Island in a 6.5-meter sloop he designed and built himself, called Napoleon Solo. He single-handedly sailed the boat through the Bermuda to England. He had left Cornwall that fall, bound for Antigua, part of the Mini Transat 6.59 single-handed sailing race from Penzance, England, but dropped out of the race in La Coruna, Spain. Bad weather had sunk several boats in the fleet and damaged many others, including Napoleon Solo. Callahan made repairs and continued voyaging down the coast of Spain and Portugal, out to Madeira and the Canaries. He departed from El Hierro in the Canary Islands on January 29, 1982, still headed for Antigua. In a growing gale, 7 days out, his vessel was badly holed by an unknown object during a night storm, and became swamped, although it did not sink outright due to watertight compartments Callahan had designed into the boat. Unable to stay aboard Napoleon Solo as it filled with water and was overwhelmed by breaking seas, Callahan escaped into a 6-man Avon inflatable life raft. He stood off in the raft, but managed to get back aboard several times to dive below and retrieve a piece of cushion, a sleeping bag, and an emergency kit containing, among other things, some food, navigation charts, a short spear gun, flares, solar stills for producing drinking water. Before dawn, a big breaking sea parted the life raft from Napoleon Solo and Callahan drifted away. The raft drifted westward with the south equatorial current and the trade winds. As he moved into the tropical waters, it became hotter and the dehydration became unbearable. After exhausting the meager food supplies he had salvaged from the sinking sloop, Callahan survived by catching food. He mainly ate mahi-mahi, as well as triggerfish, which he speared, along with flying fish, and birds that he captured. He collected drinking water from 2 solar still, and used various things for collecting rainwater, which together produced on average just over a pint of water per day. Callahan's use of an EPIRB, that is, emergency position indicating radio beacon, and many flares did not trigger a rescue. He was in too empty part of the ocean. Ships did not spot his flares. While adrift, he spotted 9 ships, most in the 2 sea lanes he crossed. After a month at sea, he drifted right through the shipping lanes. But from the beginning, Callahan knew that he could not rely upon rescue but instead must, for an undetermined time, rely upon himself and maintaining a shipboard routine for survival. He routinely exercised, navigated, prioritized problems, made repairs, fished, improved systems, and maintained food and water stocks for emergencies. On the eve of April 20, 1982, he spotted lights on the island of Marie Galante, southeast of Guadeloupe. The next day, on Callahan's 76th day afloat in the raft, fishermen picked him up just offshore, drawn to him by birds hovering over the raft. During the ordeal, he faced sharks, raft punctures, equipment deterioration, physical deterioration, and mental stress. Having lost a third of his weight and being covered with saltwater sores, he was taken to a local hospital for an afternoon, but left that evening and spent the following weeks recovering on the island and while hitchhiking on boats up through the West Indies. Callahan covered a total distance of 3,300 kilometers during his journey. During his journey, Callahan experienced a few positive elements aside from suffering, describing the night sky at one point as a view of heaven from a seat in hell. He still enjoys sailing and the sea, which he calls the world's greatest wilderness. Since his survival drift, he's made dozens of additional offshore passages and ocean crossings, most of them with no more than 2 other crew. In the making of the 2012 movie, Life of Pi, director Ang Lee asked Callahan to be a consultant on living aboard a life raft. He also wrote a book called Adrift: 76 Days Lost at Sea. Callahan's story tells us that no matter how bad the situation gets, you can still get out with proper efforts, and with a good plan and not giving up despite the situation.